Have you ever had one of those dreams where you're driving around in this sweet turbo import car? It's a gorgeous sunny day, if only a little chilly. Flipping through gears, the car is making these sweet noises, and it's really fun. It's still chilly, but you think nothing of it because turbos love cold air, and the car is being awesome. But then you start feeling really weird drafts. You look down and realize you've completely forgotten to get changed. You're still in a towel, and otherwise buck naked? So you gotta rush home before anybody notices, and find your pants. It's one of those dreams about the Daihatsu Naked. We are looking at a 2000 Daihatsu Naked. This one is a Turbo G package, 5-speed, front-wheel drive K-Class car. For your money, the Naked is a ton of fun to drive. K is short for K Jidosha. K translates to light, Jidosha to car. K is a class of light vehicles that fit within dimension, weight, engine volume, and horsepower restrictions, allowing for certain parking regulation exemption and the cheapest road tax bracket in Japan for car ownership. The Naked weighs in at 780 kilograms, with a 659cc engine, which made 64 horsepower at 6,400 RPM when it first came from assembly. The Naked doesn't feel particularly detuned. The engine is a 3-cylinder EFI dual overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, intercooled turbo with enough torque to spin its 13-inch front tires from first gear. Power feels ample. The car is quite peppy and fun to drive. This Naked makes a ton of turbo noise through pulls, with big whooshes through the recirculating valve with every gear change. There's no need to listen to music when you drive this thing. The Naked has relatively soft suspension, which with the exception of the K ABCs, is fairly common on the K class of cars. So through every pull and gear change, the Naked will rock back and forth from its own power. You'll feel a good amount of body roll when cornering. Daihatsu made no claims that this was a sports car. It was categorized as some sort of light SUV crossover or a mini sport utility inspired econobox. And it has some distinctly utilitarian aesthetic features. Look at the exposed door hinges, and the visible hex heads around the fenders, quarters, and headlights, and the rippled pattern metal on the doors. You might think this is reminiscent of some earlier off-road military vehicle, but from what I can tell, the most similar aesthetics come from Daihatsu's own range, notably the Daihatsu Taft, also known as a Wildcat or a Scat in some other markets. Inside, you are reminded the car is called a Naked in its bullet-nosed white-face gauges and in the floor mats. The floor mats have Naked text printed in a pattern repeated over and over again. These particular mats were only sold with the turbo package Nakeds. Under the floor mats and covering the entire floor of the car from pedals to trunk is a dimpled patterned rubber mat which looks like you could unload a pressure washer in there without doing any damage. If the outside looks rugged, the inside is functionally rugged. The rear seats can be unhooked and removed from the car for either a surprising amount of cargo capacity or to sit outside your car in some sort of pastoral setting and admire your Naked from a distance. If Naked sounds like a bizarre moniker to have written on your car, Daihatsu seems particularly adept at picking interesting and memorable names for their cars. There was the Midget that I covered last year, and again I'll refer you to the Scat. Daihatsu, formerly known as Hatsudoki, has been around for 100 years. And by the 1970s, Toyota had slowly bought their way in as a major shareholder. By the time the Naked was launched, Daihatsu was a wholly owned subsidiary of Toyota. Toyota as a parent company seemed willing to let Daihatsu build whatever bonkers cars they wanted and pick bizarre names. The marketing they chose wasn't rude though. There were no jokes about nude beaches or shrinkage. It was just sort of strange and cartoony, as if the car was bizarre enough that there was no explanation needed. If there ever was a brand that didn't much care what other manufacturers were doing and seemed most interested in doing their own thing, it would be Daihatsu. With the Naked, they made an excellent car. This little K car is a versatile interior with excellent upholstery that has held up very well over 100,000 kilometers. Interior plastics and trim are kept to a minimum, but the quality is durable and well made. Stuff like door mechanisms, window regulators, dash bezels are easy to access and remove. The utilitarian aesthetic translates into a functional, durable, and easy to work on car that is so outlandish in styling it can't be accused of aging badly. But if you feel like the Naked doesn't look unusual enough, you can pop an aero kit on there. Driving a Naked is maybe a bit like going skinny dipping for the first time. Nudism is supposed to be a liberation. It takes a bit of getting used to. Maybe there's some apprehension about proportions at first, but once you get in and get going, it's fun. It's more about driving and the overly powerful little engine than judgment from other motorists. And then, when the time comes that somebody asks you about what you drive, you can grin and say Naked, and then start in with the bad jokes. If you're new to my channel, please check out some of my other recent videos, and subscribe if you enjoyed this.